Twice upon a time, in two lands far, far away, there lived one king with two stories to relay. This one king, without further ado, had one head on his shoulders, but in it had two. And those two heads, as he would admit, lived in distinct ages, feared different things. As a farcical mix of two silly kings, his body was whole, but his mind was split. For the misery, he'd have the other half to blame, for his troubles, failures, nightmares, other times to name. This kind of divided story is hard to explain because their times were different. But they were the same. One would bravely ride to the darkness of doom, while the scared foot of the other wouldn't leave the room. While one hand was trying to be very smart, the other was breaking everything apart. Truly, they both wanted to conquer the world, one side with blood and soldiers, the other with his saddest song.
I won't even speak with you if you don't speak in verse. Learn how to hold a sword. You're not a king, you're a curse.
Behold, behold, to all the strong men in the known world, who first succeeds in splitting the king from his dark lord will be honored to take home his own weight in gold, plus half of the kingdom, and a banana split is the award.
One day, an old wizard came, offering the solution that made King Solomon's fame. To destroy the usurper and clear your name, take your sword against the villain, but cut yourself instead. Sliced in half, the problem will be dead. But the king kind of thought he'd really mind if he missed a piece of his head. Many tried to figure out his brain. They made him cough, spit, and even sing in the rain. His nose was picked, his blood was drained, but at the end, things stayed the same. Sometimes he'd scream when flesh would pull the bone.
Get out of my head, you king!
I want a life of my own!
Scared courtmen ran away as if tornadoes had blown. Crushed with sadness, he would leave his throne. To be a king is to be alone. The kings cursed many broken mirrors, which lied that they parted, and showed memory of their errors and the day when it all started. In this flashback, or flash forward, depending on where you stand, there were two princes at an early age, learning the manners of their courts in old kings' safe hands. To cheer up their parents' day, they went up on stage. With a blink, that magic click, they lost themselves in a play. For a couple of laughs, they became halves, and since that day they pray. They keep on wanting, longing, wishing the other half to die, But no sword, no spear, no prop can help. The presence of the other will be still alive. To his lovely queen, he wanted to confess.
2 hearts are beating in my lonely chests.
But instead of comfort, calming words or smile, the queen went silent for the moment. Her eyes sent a judging comment, and after a second sigh, she got angry and replied,
If there are really 2 of you, I want one always by my side. So please be true. To the kingdom one of you belongs, and the other was never seen.
He looks at her and his own pain. Oh, how difficult this has been.
There is not really 2 of me.
There was only a half of him. That very day, the wind of change placed a thought in his mind. No one understands your rage. Just leave your friends and love behind. Fighting your enemy and yourself with lies won't make you more of a man. Check what really happens when one head dies and march to a dragon's den. The beast will kill him, or he'll find the way to never again think twice.
I'm not here to fight you, silly. I'm here for your advice.
They talked for hours and drowned their sorrows in absinthe and boiled wine. What he learned of doubled fires in this brief amount of time is that dragons with less than 2 heads are usually a bad sign.
Too many voices and only one mouth. You really can't eat fast. 1 more head you should require. Then you could sing in the best harmony. I don't want to become a choir.
The king rebelled.
I want him out of me. You think you have singing problems? You want to see a real doubt? Try holding off the fires of 7 heads. When my grandma would come out. I knew a cyclop who was desperate because he had a squint. Bigger the enemy, bigger the army, just to give you a hint. Poor old human. You don't have a head to spare. Just simply admit. Do not take the dragon's words. But I was told that doubled worlds can only be cut by all the swords.
In order to put everything to an end, he gathered the army and gave the command,
You must fight the other and make him cry.
but there was no other army. He thought every war's a lie. Soldiers went back and forth through the empty field of war, ran around, flipped on the ground, walked on hands and all fours. Then suddenly, a voice came loud and proclaimed,
No more! What kind of a battle is this if it's conflict-free?
Very rarely, quiet soldiers change the history.
Let's give a hand to understand our king's war to be.
His sword raised high, waved a short goodbye, and said,
Follow me.
To please his king's wish, one soldier must have the nerve to cut to the bone of the problem and thoroughly observe. The rest follow their commander in bringing war inside. Cutting, slicing, splitting halves, against themselves they ride. A war is not a war, so they say, until inner selves collide. Who is better than myself to fight me side by side? The king looks at his silly army and wonders what he's done. To have a lot of halves of soldiers is better than to have none. Suddenly, he sees clearly that the world he held so dearly and everything under the sun lives in separate times and spaces, odd settlements, different races, all arranged to stand as one.
Stop at once! What have I done?
Twice upon there was a cook, but that doesn't end the rhyme. Twice there was a queen, a dragon, joker's chin, book, and a dime. Things and kings are split within, once or twice, upon a time.
Wait! I am no better than the rest, but I always gave you my seconds best. We can all just play war, but no one should die. I'll read you a poem, but no one should cry.
And he asked his kingdoms to put him to the test. Now his halves are curing others' broken parts. And that's how he became the first King of Hearts.